Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me here today. Go ahead and get your Bible, if you will. Turn with me back to the 108th Psalm. We'll be finishing it up today. And as you do that, if you would, like and share the post. And then we'll get into these last few verses of the 108th Psalm. Again, this psalm is a melody, a combination of some verses from the 57th and the 60th Psalm. And as we look at these last few verses, we're going to look at them in the context in which they were originally written. And that was David had been involved in a battle in the northern part of Israel. And while he was, Edom attacked from the south and kind of had pretty well had their way with the southern part of Israel because, again, the army was in the north. And so David is determined to strike back against Edom. And what we have really for us, and kind of bouncing here a little bit, we're going to look at a psalm and the words that David's writing here. And again, we're not completely sure of the context when they were reused in the 108th Psalm, but we are about the 60th Psalm. And as we just discussed the setting. And this was going to be a very difficult thing for David and his army to do. He says in verse 60, "Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom?" And so he is he's contemplating, he's praying about who is going to, how's he going to be able to do this. He wants to strike back at Edom. Because of their attack on him. But the problem was Edom was a very strong city. Not necessarily because their army was so great, but because of the way that the city was built. It was almost impossible to be able to attack without being seen, without being surrounded, exposing yourself. Edom was built into Petra, which is a rocky, mountainous type place, built down in it, and the only way to get into Edom was down a narrow. Through a narrow gorge, and so you were very exposed. There were basically overhangs above it, whereas you came, as the enemy came into, tried to come into Edom, they could stand up on the top of the ledge and see everything they did and attack from their position. And so to attack Edom to David seemed almost beyond reason. Didn't seem possible for him to attack. And so he knows he can't do this without the Lord. And so what we're going to do with this text this morning is we're going to look at it as David was looking. You may not be trying to attack Edom, but you may be dealing with something in your life that seems impossible, that you don't see a possible answer to. You see no reasonable, safe conclusion. You don't see how you're going to be able to get through it. And so we can use this psalm then as a reference tool, a reference point for how David addressed this. As you continue to look at these words, who will bring me into that city? Who will lead me? Verse 11, he says, "Wilt not thou, O God, who hast cast us off, and will not thou, O God, go forth with our host?" David realizes that his only avenue in this situation, again, that to him seems impossible, is that God be on his side, that God come in and step into this battle. David knew better. He was militarily wise enough, and I think as well spiritually wise enough to know that he couldn't possibly undertake such a battle without putting his hope in God, without putting his confidence in God. And so while David is determined to strike back at Edom for their attack on his nation, he knew that this city was again almost impossible, humanly speaking, for him to attack. And so who can help me get into Edom? Who can help me overcome this city? He's acknowledging in that statement that he is totally dependent on God, that there is no alternative but to put his hope and trust in God in this situation. So he says in verse 12, "Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through God we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies." And so he acknowledges here that man's help was of no value, that he was going to receive no consolation or no assistance, or if he did, it wouldn't help. That to get all of man's assistance possible, he was up against an impossible battle. We don't know what the psalmist in Psalm 108 was facing. We don't know why he pulled these words back up, what situation he was dealing with, but he evidently felt like David did as he tried to contemplate how he was going to attack Edom. And today, again, this passage is a reminder for us. You may not be attacking Edom. I hope not. You probably are not, well, we don't know, again, in the same situation that the psalmist of 108, when he combined these words, was in. But what we do know is that whatever our situation is, wherever we find ourselves, the lesson that we do learn from this psalm is that we put our confidence in God, not in man. I've told this story before, and I'm sure some of you remember to have heard it. Some of you may not have. But many years ago, when I worked in the jewelry business, I did all the repair work, and I remember one day a lady walked in and with a Rolex, carrying a Rolex in her hands like this. And I've always joked, I said, anytime you carrying your Rolex like this, it's not a good situation. But she brought it in and wanted me to fix it. And I said, what happened to it? And she told of taking it to another jeweler, wanting to get the band adjusted. And whatever he had done, it was in a lot of pieces. And I said, I can't touch that. Rolex, that's a several $1,000 watch. I said, if you would have brought it to me to begin with, I could have adjusted the band. But now that it's been, now that somebody else has already done all this to it, you need to take it back and settle with them. You've already taken it there. You need to deal with them. I don't want to, get involved in this several $1,000 watch discussion here. Well, our life is that way. Our circumstances are that way. And that's often the way we handle it. We try to handle it ourselves. We try to use man's wisdom. We try to use Dr. Phil or the latest help book from the bookstore, or just do it ourselves. And once we've busted it all to pieces, then we go running to God and say, God, can you fix it? Can you fix my life? Can you fix my marriage? Can you fix my relationship with my children? Can you fix my job situation? We go to God after we've tore it up. Well, David was wise enough here to know, I'm not going to try to attack Edom, get a bunch of people killed, get embarrassed, go through that, and then ask God to fix it. I know that I can't trust the wisdom of man, the help of man, but through God we will do valiantly. That should be a good motto, good vision statement or mission statement for each one of us. Vain is the help of man, but through God we shall do valiantly. I hope you'll take that today. And let that be your marching orders for today. Let that be your battle cry for today. Through man, the vain is the help of man, but through God we will do valiantly today. He will tread down our enemies. I hope that encourages you and keeps your focus on Him and not the help or the assistance or the wisdom of man, because God says in His Word, it is vain. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.